The 2026 World Cup just became a political battlefield. FIFA's former chief Sepp Blatter is calling for a boycott of the tournament in the United States, citing the Trump administration's dangerous conduct on the world stage. This could affect the biggest sporting event ever held in North America, with matches across the US, Canada, and Mexico. Millions of tickets already sold, billions in economic impact, and fans caught in the middle. Today, Sophia and Liam clash. Is this a necessary moral stand? Or are FIFA officials punishing innocent fans for political theater? And we need your take on this, because honestly, there's no safe middle ground here. Either you believe sports should take political stands, or you believe fans come first. So don't hold back in the comments. Defend your position. Challenge the other side. This is one of those debates where everyone has an opinion, and we want to hear all of them. Which side are you on? Here's what sparked the controversy. Former FIFA President Sepp Blatter, yes, the same Blatter who resigned amid corruption scandals, issued a statement calling for international federations to boycott the 2026 World Cup. His reasoning? The Trump administration's aggressive foreign policy, threats against allies, withdrawal from international agreements, and what he calls undermining democratic norms globally. Current FIFA President Gianni Infantino hasn't officially responded, but several European football federations are reportedly considering the proposal. The 2026 World Cup is scheduled for 16 cities across 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It's the first 48-team tournament. Over 5 million tickets have been allocated. The economic impact is estimated at $5 billion. But here's what will shock you. This isn't the first time politics has invaded the World Cup. FIFA has made political decisions before. They banned Russia from the 2022 Qatar World Cup after the Ukraine invasion. They awarded the tournament to Qatar despite human rights concerns. They held the 1978 World Cup in Argentina during a military dictatorship. The question now, should the world's most popular sport become a tool for political protest? Sophia says boycotting sends a necessary message. Liam says it's hypocritical grandstanding that hurts fans.
Sports have always been political, and pretending otherwise is naive. When a host nation is actively destabilizing the international order, FIFA has a moral obligation to act. Trump's administration has threatened military action against NATO allies, abandoned climate agreements, imposed tariffs that harm global economies, and undermine democratic institutions. Holding the world's biggest sporting event in the US right now sends the message that these actions are acceptable. They're not. FIFA has precedent for this. They banned Russia from competition after invading Ukraine. They've suspended federations for government interference. They claim to stand for unity, respect, and fair play. Well, prove it. If those values mean anything, they can't celebrate a World Cup in a country whose government is actively violating them. And yes, this affects fans. But fans will understand that some things are bigger than sports. The millions of people affected by aggressive American foreign policy matter more than whether someone gets to watch a soccer match in person. Boycotting the World Cup sends a clear message to the Trump administration that the world won't normalize or celebrate their behavior.
This is exactly the kind of performative political theater that makes people hate institutions like FIFA. Let me explain why this is complete hypocrisy. First, Sepp Blatter is calling for a boycott based on moral principles. The man who oversaw the most corrupt era in FIFA history, the man who awarded World Cups to Qatar and Russia despite massive human rights concerns, he has zero credibility to lecture anyone about ethics. Second, millions of fans have already bought tickets, planned trips, and invested money in attending the 2026 World Cup. Boycotting doesn't hurt Trump, it hurts them. It punishes regular people for their government's policies they may not even support. Third, sports should unite people, not divide them based on politics. The World Cup brings together nations that disagree on everything else. If we start boycotting every country whose government we dislike, there won't be any international sports left. And fourth, this reeks of European elitism. The 2026 World Cup includes Canada and Mexico as co-hosts. Are we punishing them too? This is FIFA officials grandstanding for political points while fans pay the price.
Sports don't exist in a vacuum. When the host country is threatening world stability, silence is complicity.
So we boycott America but held tournaments in Russia and Qatar? That's not principle. That's selective outrage.
FIFA made mistakes before. That doesn't mean they shouldn't do the right thing now. Growth requires acknowledging past failures.
The right thing is honoring commitments to fans who've invested in this, not political virtue signaling.
So we've got FIFA credibility questions, fan rights, and political messaging. But here's what neither side wants to address. Who actually has the power to make this decision, and what are the real-world consequences? Before we dig into the mechanics of a boycott, and what it would mean for the sport itself. I need to know where you stand. SOPHIA, blue symbol. Boycott is a moral necessity. Political action is justified. Liam, red symbol. Fans come first. Sports should stay out of politics. Your vote determines whether we accept sports as political tools or preserve them as neutral ground. Now let's examine what a boycott would actually look like.
Let me explain why this isn't just symbolic. It's strategically important for global norms. The World Cup is one of the few events that truly captures global attention. Billions of people watch. It's a platform that transcends normal diplomatic channels. When FIFA takes a stand, the world notices. That's exactly why it matters that Trump's administration has shown it doesn't respond to traditional diplomatic pressure. Sanctions haven't changed behavior. Statements from other governments haven't worked. But economic and reputational consequences do get attention. Canceling or relocating the World Cup would cost billions and humiliate the administration on a global stage. That creates real leverage. And this isn't about hating America or American fans. It's about holding governments accountable. Many Americans oppose Trump's policies too. A boycott would actually strengthen their hand domestically by showing international solidarity with their concerns. FIFA's mission is to unite the world through football. That mission is incompatible with hosting a tournament in a country whose government is actively dividing the world through aggression and norm breaking. The values FIFA claims to represent demand action, not neutrality.
SOPHIA is making this sound noble, but let's talk about the actual consequences that FIFA doesn't want to admit. First, logistics. The 2026 World Cup is 18 months away. Billions have been spent on infrastructure, new stadiums, transportation, security. You can't just move that overnight. There's no backup plan. A boycott doesn't mean we'll host it somewhere better. It means the tournament doesn't happen, period. That's 48 teams, 104 matches, and the dreams of millions of fans destroyed. Second, who gets hurt? Not Trump, not his administration. Regular people. Small business owners who've invested in hotels and restaurants near stadiums. Workers who've built their livelihoods around the tournament. Fans from developing nations who've saved for years to attend. FIFA officials will grandstand from their luxury offices while these people lose everything. Third, the precedent this sets is catastrophic for sports. If we boycott based on a government's foreign policy, every future tournament becomes a political battleground. China hosted the Olympics despite Xinjiang. Brazil hosted World Cup during protests. France has controversial policies. Where do we draw the line? Once politics becomes the determining factor, international sport collapses. This is FIFA trying to look principled while actually just engaging in the same political opportunism they always have.
The precedent we set is that actions have consequences. Trump can't threaten allies and expect the world to celebrate in American stadiums.
The World Cup was awarded to the U.S. before Trump. You're punishing a tournament decision made years ago for current politics.
And there's the impossible question. Can FIFA separate sports from politics, or is that separation a convenient fiction? But here's that uncomfortable truth we promised. FIFA's selective enforcement reveals this isn't really about principle. It's about power and leverage. They banned Russia quickly because Western nations united in pressure. They ignored Qatar human rights issues because Gulf money and influence made them look away. They're considering U.S. boycott because European federations have political motivations. None of this is consistent moral leadership. It's institutional politics dressed up as ethics. The reality is that FIFA has always made political decisions while claiming political neutrality. Where they host tournaments, which countries they ban, how they enforce rules, all of it reflects political considerations. The question isn't whether FIFA is political. It's whether their political decisions serve justice or just serve powerful interests. And fans are always the ones who pay the price for these institutional power games. When Russia was banned, Russian fans who had nothing to do with the Ukraine invasion couldn't watch their team. When Qatar hosted despite worker deaths and anti-LGBT laws, fans had to choose between supporting the sport they love and protesting human rights violations. Now American fans face the prospect of losing a tournament they've waited decades to host because of policies many of them oppose. The structure of international sports governance means fans have no voice in these decisions. FIFA officials make choices. National federations approve them. Sponsors apply pressure. Fans buy tickets and watch games. But they have zero democratic input into how the sport is run. That's the real problem. Not whether this specific boycott is right or wrong, but that the people most affected have the least power. But this question, international institutions making politically charged decisions while claiming neutrality, connects directly to something happening that reveals the pattern perfectly. While debating FIFA's moral authority, we're ignoring the fundamental issue: institutional independence versus political pressure. Institutions claim to operate on principle, but powerful actors constantly pressure them to make politically convenient decisions. FIFA faces pressure from European governments to boycott the US. The Federal Reserve faces pressure from Trump to manipulate interest rates for political gain. The Supreme Court faces pressure from both parties to rule politically rather than legally. And one institution that's supposed to be independent, the Federal Reserve, is currently fighting off the most direct political attack in its history. The Supreme Court is deciding whether Trump can fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to gain political control over monetary policy. The Fed is supposed to be independent, making economic decisions free from political interference. Every living Fed chair and Treasury Secretary, both parties, united against this power grab. They warn that political control of the Fed causes economic crises that destabilize everything, including the ability to fund events like World Cups and maintain stable international systems. That Federal Reserve case affects your economic security, which affects international stability, which affects whether institutions like FIFA can even operate effectively. It's all connected. Should Trump control interest rates? That battle is happening now. Watch it next.